So people that know me will know that I'm not the biggest fan of Resident Evil 4 Remake. And I think without a doubt one of the game's biggest wastes of potential was its lack of additional and expanded areas, instead preferring to change areas or even cut them, such as the dam, sewers and laser room, just to name a few. So I thought I'd show Capcom how it's done and design my own maps as well as the events that would occur at them, including new bosses and cutscenes, enemies, special weapons, loot and more. Only things I needed was a map and Microsoft Paint, so I did a quick Google search, downloaded a map and got to work starting off with the village. Alright, so I didn't record this, but I wanted to add an area at the beginning of the game right here. As you can see, this is a completely new area right here, and I wanted this area to become accessible once you came back to the village with Ashla at night time. Like maybe you find a key at the church or something, and then you can open this gate right here and it takes you to this entirely new optional area. So the fence would be like right next to that hut where the woman is, where the dead body is on the wall. Maybe like a little set of stairs, you go up there and there's like a metal fence, open it with that key and you can access this new area. But I'm not entirely happy with this section right here. I want to expand it a little bit, make it about as big as the village, so I'm going to do that real quick. So this is what I've come up with right here. You see it's about as big as the village. I'm not sure what this could be, but there's some buildings here. I'm thinking that you have to go through the buildings. Maybe there's a bunch of enemies here and you need to actually explore the area and kill some enemies in order to get through this way. And I want to put a boss here. A entirely new boss. I was thinking maybe Dr. Salvador. And as you can see, it connects back here to that bridge, which gets destroyed at the beginning of the game. So it would still get destroyed. And I was thinking that maybe the boss could actually crash through the door and fall into the river, and that could be how it dies. And maybe Leon has like some cheesy one-liner where, you know, I don't know, nice fall or something, nice dive, you know, something stupid like that. I'm not really sure, but I think this would be cool because in the original game, you can see that big door that is across the bridge, but you never actually go there. So I think it'd be cool to expand this area and actually allow you to go behind that door, potentially fight a boss, like I said, you know, Super Salvador. That could be cool, or some other boss. But this is just a rough example that I came up with the other day because I hadn't actually figured out what I wanted to do with it yet. But I'm gonna put a boss here, so I'm gonna put like a little boss arena, something kind of like the El Gigante area, which is right here, you see. So it's a pretty small area. Well, it looks small. Oh yeah, and something else, but you can actually cut back to the beginning of the game down this little path right here to the first house. So maybe you could like open up a door on the other side. So maybe at the beginning of the game you go up that path as usual, you can go to the left and up here, but then you go to a dead end because, you know, you can't open the door. So like once you go through here, you could open it on the other side and cut back to the beginning of the game here, because what I wanted it to be would be that you'd go through the fence, explore this area, kill the boss. Obviously you can't go this way because the bridge is destroyed. So what you could do is backtrack a little bit here, cut down here to the beginning of the game, and go through this area again, where because it's nighttime, you could have new enemies that have spawned there. Maybe have some of those dogs as well. So you go through here, explore this area, fight the boss, cut back down here, and go back through the beginning of the game. That would add a lot of new gameplay, which wasn't in the original. Entirely optional as well, you don't have to go here, but you can get obviously loot, maybe you know, get a cool reward from the boss, maybe a weapon, you never know. So I'm gonna go ahead and change this pathing here a little bit because I want to make it so that you have to explore this area right here. But as it is right now, you can just sort of run past it if you want to. But I want to make it sort of like a forced section. Not really a forced section, but an area where you have to actually engage in it. Whether you run through the buildings, get a key maybe, and open up a gate. or do something along those lines. So I'm going to change it a little bit here. I actually think it might be a pretty simple fix. If I just cut off this area right here. That's a really easy fix, actually. That way then you have to actually go through this area in order to get to the next section. So that was actually a really easy fix. So what you would do is you'd go here. Maybe you have to go up these stairs into this building, and there's enemies, and maybe you have to go down this staircase and then go under here and then through there. But obviously along the way there's a bunch of enemies blocking your path. And what you can do is I'll put a optional treasure up here. So you can either choose to run through this area and quickly get to the next section, or you can kill the enemies at the expense of, you know, some resources and get a cool treasure in this little spot right here. So the treasures are marked by these blue circles, and there you go. You've got a treasure right there. So I'll put a door here because obviously we don't want this place to be accessible from the beginning of the game. Maybe I can color code the doors based on needing a key or being accessible from the other side. I might actually do that a little bit later on. And next I'm going to change this area because this doesn't look like a boss arena. So I'm going to completely change this section here. Okay, so I think I'm happy with that. But something that I want to do is add a small little area right here. So once you go through the fence, the gate, you can go up like a little set of stairs and just loot a little building. So I'm going to have it so that as soon as you go through the gate, there's this circular little space, and leading up here will be that little hut or house. Not too big, about as big as the first house at the beginning of the game. So yeah, it's going to be a very small set of stairs, and okay, maybe a little bit bigger. I might even have a little path that goes down this way. And then in this circle, we'll put a small little building. Alright, so something like that, that'll do. And I want to put a treasure here. So yeah, a lot of goodies in this optional area. You don't have to come here, but if you do, then you can get a shitload of gold, you know, pesetas. Alright, cool, so I think I'm happy with that. We have our little hut here with a treasure in there and a little semi-secret path going down here. We've got this big area about as big as the village where we'll have a bunch of enemies, a big fight, a treasure here that you can get if you choose not to run through it, a little shortcut with a door that leads back to the beginning of the game, and a boss here. I just need to figure out what the hell this area is exactly. Actually, a couple of things I'll do is I'm actually going to put a merchant here. That'll allow you to prepare then. Most bosses have a merchant before them, so I'm going to do that. Alright, put merchant right here. I'll put him in this corner. And the other thing I want to do is I want to add boss icons to the map. I think I'll just make it a simple X. X is usually signified by evil, right? So I'll just make it a simple X, and I'll put it where all of the bosses are. I think this could be a Super Salvador, because that's something that I definitely would implement into a remake, but it's like, where would you put the Super Salvador? So maybe you could put him here. Maybe even at the beginning of the game, you could hear a chainsaw coming from behind the gate, like a really loud chainsaw with some crazy screaming. Something that doesn't sound like the regular Salvador. And I want to also color code the doors based on openable, locked, key required, so I'll do that. So maybe we'll just do yellow for always open, red for key required, and blue for opened from the other side, as well as put a arrow or something that represents which side it needs to be opened from. Okay, so I think that's everything. We've got all the locked doors indicated by red, and the one-way doors well, not one-way doors, but locked from other side doors indicated by blue arrows, and yellow up indicates the always open. So I've just been thinking, but I don't think this arena for the Super Salvador would actually make sense, just because of the design of the boss. Like, in the Mercenaries, you have that huge open area, the water world, whatever the hell it is, and you have all those different areas that you can, run away from him. And like a small arena like this, like a El Gigante type circular arena, just wouldn't work because of like how fast he is. Like, El Gigante is slow as hell, but like Salvador is like super quick. So I'm thinking, this is a stupid idea. I'm gonna completely redesign this boss arena here. Make it more like the water world, where you have like different areas to run away to, and I'm actually gonna implement a zip line into it, just like the double El Gigante fight. And I actually have an idea for how you could deal with this guy in a couple of different ways, which would result in different outcomes and different types of loot. One being no loot, and the second being a shitload of loot, depending on how you want to deal with him. Alright, so first thing I've done is I've moved the merchant to this little split path here where you can go down to the first house, just because I need a lot more space. And because you'd have Ashley with you here, maybe she could actually wait here, like where the merchant is, or there'd be like one of those little hide in the dumpster type things, because obviously you don't want to jump down there. Maybe there'd be like a ladder or something, or you have to jump down to start the boss, trigger a cutscene, boss starts. You obviously don't want Ashley to be with you, so she could wait up here while you deal with the boss, and you wouldn't be able to go back up once you start the boss. Maybe you'd have to like activate something that would allow you to get back up, but you can't do it until the boss is dead. So I want to make a building that sort of goes up and round here, and this is where the zip line would be, and the zip line down here, and that would actually be how you could deal with the Salvador in a certain way. As I was talking before about how he would fall into the river, like maybe what could happen is there's some barrels here, and you could shoot them, and it'll blow open the door, and then you can lure him up here, go down the zip line, he follows you down the zip line, and then he just falls off the edge, and he dies, but you wouldn't get any loot. So you can take care of him super easily, but you don't get any loot. Or you can kill him the normal way, use the resources and shit, and get some good loot, including a money drop from him, maybe like 15,000 pesetas. And then I was also thinking a key that would open up maybe like a weapon cabinet or something, or a small room, and in there could be a unique weapon that you can only get by beating him, So that'd be cool. Couple of different ways of killing him, as well as different resulting loot, either no loot or a shitload of loot. So this is what I've come up with. As you can see, it's a lot bigger now. You've got all these little different paths. You go up here through all these buildings, and you can obviously jump down from here, and this is where the zipline would be. So you could lure the Salvador up here after blowing up those barrels, go down the zipline, and he would follow you and not smash through, because obviously the door's already blown open, but he would go flying off the edge and fall into the river. And then it could trigger a little cutscene where Leon walks up to the edge and says some cheesy one-liner like, "Oh, going for a swim? I wish I could join you, but I gotta go," something like that. And obviously, because he falls, no loot, no key, but if you do kill him the regular way, then you get a cash reward, as well as a key that could open up a door here into a small little room, and there could be a weapon or some sort of weapon modification. Just a cool little reward, All you need to do is just put a locked door here. Alright, there we go. So yeah, I'm a lot happier with that. That makes a lot more sense. Actually, just one small thing, but I want that's a lot better. That way then, the bridge isn't like too far to the right. Yep, so that looks about right. I think that's pretty good right there. Next thing I want to move on to is a little area right here, just to expand some of these pre-existing areas, have some little side areas, and also it would actually give you a reason to backtrack through here. So you'd beat the boss, then go through this, and go through this area. There'd be enemies here, maybe those dogs, and you could access some areas that you couldn't before, and it would actually give you a reason to backtrack through these areas. So I'm going to add a little path here that goes to a little side area, and then it could lead to this point right here, and then you could like jump down just as a little shortcut, so you'd have to go back around. So yeah, this area here has been greatly expanded. We come back with Ashley, backtrack through here, use a key that we found at the church, get a treasure here, some loot, go up here, have a big fight here, go through here, either run through or deal with the enemies, get the treasure, upgrade if you need to at the merchant, make Ashley wait, go down here, get a cutscene, Super Salvador bursts out of a fucking building or some shit, then you have to fight him. Lure him into the zip line over the edge, or kill him, get your loot, backtrack to Ashley, go down the shortcut, go through the starting area, kill some dogs, some enemies that have spawned there, go up here, get some more loot, which you couldn't access before, and then go back and continue with the chapter as usual. So, a big ass area right here, completely optional, you don't have to do it. Obviously, things could always change in the future. We may come back to these areas and change them a little bit, tweak them, but for the time being, I'm going to move on to the village, because I do want to change the village a little bit. One thing I do want to do, though, is I want to have a path that leads back to that upper banking area, where you go across the bridge and you have those villages. I think that would be cool, and I think a good idea of implementing that would be to add a area here. Just like the remake, where it has that little area that goes here, it could lead back to that banking, and you could get a little bit of loot. So just like the remake, I'm going to add a little area, but I'm going to take it a little bit further and extend it all the way over here. And obviously, you wouldn't be able to access this area during the village fight. You'd have to like wait, so something could happen that would open it up afterwards. Something else, but I want to make use of this small building here, because in the original, this doesn't lead to anything. It's just a dead end, so I might have it go down here. Maybe even have it connect with this building, just to make it feel more natural rather than feel out of place. Yeah, so right there, where you can jump through that window, I'm going to have this building connect. Yeah, I think that would be nice, actually. So rather than having that building just be nothing, we're going to expand it a little bit and also connect it to the upper part of that one building. That way then it feels more natural rather than something awkwardly added in. And of course, I want to make that building accessible, just like the remake. That's one good thing that they did in that, was making that one building accessible. So I'll do the same thing here. And once again, it could be accessible with the help of Ashley. Put a little locked door, and boom. I think besides that though, I don't want to tinker around with this too much. Like I said, I don't want to change it that much, but I will add a path here that's going to lead to a different area and then connect with the graveyard. Sort of like how it was in the remake, but better. Rather than just a underground linear cave, I'm thinking I might add a small little area. But before we get to that, I have a cool idea for a section here at the canyon. So what you could do is, you could do it as usual, get the 2 plates, go through this building, then go to Mendes' house, either running past the enemies or fighting them, or what you could do is add in more choices, which I think is a cool idea. But you could kill the enemies or run past them if you really wanted to. And what you could do is, you could get some rope. So like maybe in one of the buildings there could be some rope, and you can use it to rappel down. I was thinking here. You could rappel down and it leads you to this sort of underground type catacombs area, and it would lead to that fish pond. So it would give you a second option to get there. I also want to expand this area and add some different areas as well. maybe that could be where the rope is. Put it in a sort of complicated spot, which makes it tough to run past the enemies. But first of all, I'm going to add this new path. Along the way though, what could we put? Because I don't want it just to be a super linear straight path. I want to actually have some structure to it. Right, so we're piecing something together here. You see it's got a little bit complex, not too confusing though, just some different paths and stuff. It is a sort of catacombs type underground area thingamajig, so. And there we have it, there's our alternate path to Mendes' house. All I need to do now is add a one-way door here and some treasures, and then we're done. So I decided to just put the one treasure to have it be the same as this area here, but there will be a lot more spinels since it would make sense, you know, underground chasm, gems wedged in the walls and stuff, some Goonies type shit, you know. We've got our one-way door there as well, and yeah, I think I'm happy with that. So far we've got quite a lot here. We've got this big area here, we've got this Super Salvador fight with different ways of doing it. Shortcut here, going back to the beginning of the game. We've got this big underground chasm at the canyon, an alternate path to Mendes' house, as well as some small additions to the village. Pretty cool so far, and that is just the beginning. We still have this entire map to do, as well as the castle and the island, if I decide to go that far. It's all up to you guys, you know? But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of this series, if you want me to continue it or not. I really enjoyed doing this type of shit, you know. I used to do this type of stuff when I was younger. I used to love making maps, and just with how disappointing RE4 Remake was, I thought this would be a cool idea. So let me know what you think, if I should continue it or not, because we could make it into a whole series, literally do the entire map, you know, adding all these different areas, expanding these areas and making it into what the remake should have been. So hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Sayonara.